The alarm bells rang through the ship. Captain Zephy's opened all four of his eyes and looked at the screen. His thin blue skin turned pale as he read the message. Unknown vessel detected. Origin unknown. Size massive. Zephy stood up from his chair. His long arms reached for the control panel. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of machines. His crew of 6 aliens sat at their stations. Each one was different. Some had scales, others had fur. All of them were small and thin compared to what they were about to find. Officer Crix, what do we see? Zephy's asked. Crix was a green alien with 3 eyes. She had been working on the ship for 10 years. She knew space better than most. Her fingers moved fast over the controls. Captain, the ship is big. Very big. It looks like it was made by someone who doesn't care about beauty, only about strength. Zephy's walked to the main screen. The image showed a dark shape against the stars. The ship looked rough and ugly. It had thick metal plates all over it. Strange tubes came out from the sides. The front was pointed like a weapon. Where did it come from? Zephy's asked. That's the problem, Captain, Crix said. Her voice was worried. Our computers say it came from the Keth sector, from a planet called Terra 3. The bridge became very quiet. Everyone knew about Terra 3. It was marked in red on all the maps. Class 15 Deathworld. The worst kind of planet anyone could imagine. That's impossible, said Dr. Vex. He was the ship's scientist. His purple skin had spots that changed color when he was upset. Right now, they were bright yellow. Nothing can live on a Class 15 world. The weather alone would kill anything in days. Zephy's had seen the reports about Class 15 worlds. They were planets where everything tried to kill you. The air was poison. The water was acid. The ground shook and split open. The sky rained fire. Even the strongest aliens in the galaxy would die in hours on such a world. Maybe the ship is empty, said Officer Tam. She was small and covered in soft brown fur. Maybe whoever built it died long ago. Run a scan, Zephy's ordered. Check for life signs. Crix worked at her station. Her 3 eyes focused on different screens. After a few minutes, she looked up. Her face was confused. Captain, I'm getting readings. But they don't make sense. What kind of readings? Life. Signs, strong ones. The ship is full of living things. But the readings are wrong. The life forms are too big, too dense, too hot. Zephy's felt cold. In his 50 years of space travel, he had never heard of anything like this. How many life forms? About 200, Captain. They're all over the ship, moving around. They seem to be working. Dr. Vex stood up. His spots were now flashing red and yellow. Captain, this is very dangerous. We should leave, now. But Zephy's was curious. He was an explorer. He had joined the Galactic Survey to find new things. This was the biggest discovery of his life. No, he said. We need to know what's on that ship. If something can live on a Class 15 world, we need to understand it. Captain, Crix said, I'm getting a signal from the ship. What kind of signal? It's a message. In an unknown language. But our computers are trying to translate it. The main screen flickered. Strange symbols appeared. Then words formed in the common galactic language. Hello there. We see you. Do you need help? The bridge was silent. Zephy's read the message 3 times. His heart was beating fast. They're trying to talk to us, he said. Captain, this could be a trap, Officer Tam said. Her fur was standing up. Maybe they're dangerous. Or maybe they're friendly, Zephy said. He thought for a moment. Send a message back. Tell them we are peaceful explorers. Crix typed on. Her controls. After a few seconds, a new message appeared on the screen. Great to meet you. We're peaceful too. Want to come aboard for coffee? Dr. Vex made a choking sound. "Captain, they want us to board their ship. The ship from a Class 1-5. Deathworld. This is madness." Zephy's looked at the message again. Coffee was not a word in their language. The translator showed it as hot brown liquid for drinking. It sounded innocent enough. "Maybe they're not from Terra 3, he said. "Maybe they just found the ship there." "Captain," Crick said, "I'm reading their ship's hull. The metal is strange. It's harder than anything we use for our warships. And it's been through extreme heat and cold, many times." Zephy's made his decision. Prepare a boarding party, small group. Full protective gear. We go in peaceful but ready. "Captain, I strongly advise against this," Dr. Vex said. "Noted, Doctor. But we have to know. If there are beings who can survive on a Class 15 world, the galaxy needs to know about them." As the crew prepared for the boarding mission, none of them knew what they were about to discover. They thought they were meeting survivors from a dead world. They had no idea they were about to meet the most dangerous species in the galaxy. A species that didn't just survive on Terra 3. A species that called it home. Captain Zephy's put on his protective suit. The material was strong but thin. It could protect him from most dangers in space. Behind him, Dr. Vex and Officer Tan did the same. Officer Crick stayed on the bridge to watch everything. "Remember," Zephy said into his helmet radio, "we are peaceful. But stay alert. We don't know what we're walking into." The small shuttle moved toward the strange ship. As they got closer, the ship looked even bigger. It was like a flying mountain made of metal. "Dark and rough and scary, Captain," Tam said. "Look at those marks on the hull." Zephy's looked where she pointed. The metal had deep scratches and burn marks. Some areas looked like they had been hit by weapons, but the ship was still working fine. "What could do that much damage?" Dr. Vex asked. "I don't want to know," Tam replied. The shuttle reached the side of the big ship. A door opened. It was much larger than doors on their ships. Everything about this vessel was built big. They floated through the door and into an airlock. The door closed behind them. Air filled the small room. Zephy's checked his readings. "The air is safe," he said, "but it's thick." "Much thicker than what?" "We breathe." "And hot," Tam added. "Very hot." The inner door opened. 3 figures stood waiting for them. Zephy's felt his 4 hearts stop beating for a moment. The beings were huge. They stood twice as tall as any alien Zephy's had ever seen. Their bodies were thick and strong. They had only 2 arms and 2 legs, but each limb looked powerful enough to break metal. Their skin was different colors. One was dark brown, one was pale pink, and one was something in between. But the most shocking thing was their faces. They had only 2 eyes, and they were smiling. "Welcome aboard," said the one in front. The voice was deep and loud. Even through the translator, it sounded friendly. "I'm Captain Sarah Chun. This is my first officer Mike and our doctor Hassan." Zephy's tried to speak, but no words came out. These creatures were terrifying to look at. But they seemed happy to see the visitors. "I'm Captain Zephy's," he finally managed to say. "This is Dr. Vex and Officer Tam. Great to meet you," Sarah said. She stepped forward. Zephy stepped back without thinking. "Sorry, did I scare you? We're just excited. We haven't seen other people in space before." "Other people?" Dr. Vex asked. His voice was shaking. "You know, intelligent life. Aliens." "Well, I guess we're the aliens to you," Sarah laughed. The sound was loud and frightening. Mike stepped forward. He was even bigger than Sarah. "Would you like to see our ship? We can show you around." "That would be nice," Zephy said. He was trying to stay calm. They walked through the ship. Everything was built for giants. The ceilings were high. The doors were wide. The chairs looked like they could hold 3 normal aliens. "This is our main hallway," Hassan said. He seemed friendly like the others. We call it the spine of the ship. Why is everything so big? Tam asked. The three humans looked at each other. Big? Sarah asked. This is normal size for us. Are your ships smaller? Much smaller, Dr. Vex said. We are normal size, you are. Very large, Mike said. Interesting. I guess different worlds make different kinds of people. They entered a large room filled with machines. The noise was loud. The machines hummed and clicked and buzzed. This is our engine room, Sarah said proudly. Want to see how it works? She walked to a large panel and pressed some buttons. A section of the wall became transparent. Inside, Zephyrs could see a bright light. It was brighter than their ship's sun lamps. That's our fusion reactor, Mike explained. Pretty cool, right? Dr. Vex looked at his scanner. His spots turned white with shock. Captain, he whispered to Zephyrs, that reactor is running at temperatures that would melt our entire ship. Is that normal for your people? Zephyrs asked. The humans, sure, Hassan said. Standard ship power. Nothing fancy. They continued the tour. Every room showed things that should not exist. The humans had machines that worked in impossible ways. They had materials that should not be so strong. They had weapons that they called tools for clearing space rocks. Here's our dining hall. Sarah said, Want to try some coffee? The room had tables and chairs built for giants. The humans led them to a machine in the corner. It made loud noises and steam came out of it. Coffee is great, Mike said. It helps us wake up in the morning. Hassan filled a small cup with black liquid. The smell was strong and sharp. He handed it to Dr. Vex. Just a tiny sip, Hassan said. It might be strong for you. Dr. Vex looked at the cup. The liquid was hot enough to make steam. He took a very small sip. His eyes rolled back. He fell to the floor. His body started shaking. Doctor, Tam shouted. She knelt beside him. Oh no, Sarah said. Is he okay? Maybe the coffee was too strong. Too strong? Tam looked up at her. What is this poison? Poison? Mike looked confused. It's just coffee. We drink it every day. Sometimes 5 or 6 cups. Hassan knelt down beside Dr. Vex. The human was so big that his shadow covered the alien completely. I'm a doctor. Let me help. Tam moved away quickly. Hassan checked Dr. Vex with gentle hands. His touch was surprisingly soft for such a big creature. He'll be okay, Hassan said. His heart is beating fast. Looks like caffeine shock. He should rest. Caffeine? Zephyrs asked. It's what makes coffee work, Sarah explained. It gives us energy, makes us alert. How much do your people usually drink? We don't have anything like this, Zephyrs said. This would kill most aliens. The 3 humans looked at each other again. Really? Mike asked. But it's so mild. Even our children drink weak coffee. Dr. Vex opened his eyes. He looked up at the giants standing around him. What are you people? He whispered. We're humans, Sarah said simply. From Earth. Well, we call it Earth. Your computers called it Terra 3. The Class 15 Deathworld, Tam said quietly. Deathworld? Hassan laughed. Earth? No, Earth is beautiful. Sure, it can be dangerous sometimes. But that's what makes it interesting. Zephyrs felt cold again. These beings lived on a Class 15 Deathworld and called it beautiful. They drank poison for fun. They used weapons as tools. And they were happy to meet strangers. I think, he said. Slowly, we need to learn more about each other. That sounds great, Sarah said. We have lots of questions too. Like, how do you survive being so small? Don't you get hurt easily? As Dr. Vex slowly sat up, still shaking from the coffee, Zephyrs realized that this meeting was going to change everything. These humans were not what anyone expected. They were something completely new, something impossible, something terrifying and wonderful at the same time. Dr. Vex sat in a chair that was too big for him. His legs dangled like a child's. The coffee had made him sick, but he was getting better. Captain Sarah brought him a cup of water. Even the water tasted strange. It was too clean and too pure. "Tell us about your world," Zephyr said to the humans. He wanted to understand these giants. Sarah's face lit up. "Oh, Earth is amazing. We have big oceans and tall mountains, green forests and wide deserts. The weather changes all the time." "Changes how?" Dr. Vex asked. His voice was still weak. "Well," Mike said, "sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold. Sometimes the sky throws water at us, sometimes it throws ice. In some places, the wind gets really angry and spins around really fast." Tam looked confused. "The sky throws things at you." "Rain and hail," Hassan explained. "Don't your worlds have weather?" "We control our weather," Zephyr said. "We make it safe and comfortable." "But that sounds boring," Sarah said. "The best part about weather is that you never know what's coming next." Dr. Vex checked his scanner while the humans talked. The readings made no sense. These beings had body heat like small stars. Their bones were thick as metal pipes. Their muscles were dense as rock. "How do you survive when the sky attacks you?" Tam asked. "We just deal with it," Mike said with a shrug. "We build strong houses. We wear good clothes. Sometimes we go outside and play in the rain." "Play in it?" Zephyr couldn't believe what he was hearing. "Sure, rain feels good. Snow is fun to throw around. Thunder sounds cool." Hassan nodded. "When I was little, I loved thunderstorms. The lightning was so bright and beautiful." Dr. Vex almost fell off his chair. "Lightning? You mean electric fire from the sky?" "Yeah, that's lightning," Sarah said. "Sometimes it hits the ground. Sometimes it starts fires. But mostly it just makes noise and pretty lights." "And you think this is beautiful?" Tam asked. "Very beautiful," Hassan said. "Some of my best memories are watching storms." Zephyr felt like his world was breaking apart. These humans talked about deadly weather like it was entertainment. "What about the animals on your world?" he asked. The three humans smiled even bigger. "Oh, Earth has the best animals." Sarah said, "We have tiny ones and huge ones, fast ones and slow ones. Some that swim, some that fly, some that dig underground." "Are they safe?" Dr. Vex asked. Mike laughed. "Depends on the animal. Some are harmless, others. Well, others can be dangerous." "How dangerous?" Zephyr asked, though he was afraid to know. "Well," Hassan said, "we have cats that weigh as much as your whole shuttle. They have teeth longer than your arm and claws that can cut through metal. We have snakes that can kill you with one bite," Mike added. "Fish with more teeth than you have bones. Birds that can carry away large animals. Spiders bigger than your head," Sarah said happily. "Bears that can crush rocks with their hands." Tam was shaking. "How do you live with such monsters?" "They're not monsters," Sarah said. "They're just animals. Most of them leave us alone if we leave them alone. And the dangerous ones taught us to be smart and careful. You learn to fight them," Zephyr asked. "Sometimes," Mike said. "But mostly we learn to avoid them, or to make friends with the safer ones." "Make friends with wild animals?" Dr. Vex was starting to feel sick again. "Sure, we have animals that live with us. Dogs and cats and birds. They help us and we help them." Hassan pulled out a small device. He touched it and pictures appeared. "These are my pets back on Earth." The first picture showed Hassan sitting next to a huge furry animal with big teeth and sharp claws. The animal looked like it could eat Hassan in 3 bites. But both Hassan and the animal looked happy. "That's my dog, Max," Hassan said proudly. "He's a big guy, but very gentle." The next picture showed a smaller animal with green eyes and sharp teeth. It was sitting on Hassan's head like a hat. "And that's my cat, Luna. She likes to sleep on my pillow." Dr. Vex stared at the pictures. Those animals could kill you easily. Max and Luna? Hassan laughed. No way. They love me. I raised them from babies. But look at their teeth, Tam said. Look at their claws. Those are for eating and climbing, Sarah explained. Not for hurting friends. Mike showed them more pictures on his device. Animals with stripes and spots. Animals with horns. And wings. Animals that looked like they came from nightmares. These are from a zoo I visited, Mike said. A place where we keep animals safe and let people look at them. You put the dangerous animals in cages? Zephy's asked. Some of them. The really dangerous ones. But mostly we just give them space to live and be happy. What about the plants? Dr. Vex asked. Are they safe? The humans looked at each other and started laughing. Plants? Sarah said between laughs. Oh, some plants are definitely not safe. We have plants that can eat animals, Mike said. Plants that are poison to touch. Plants with thorns sharp as needles. Plants that make you sick if you smell them, Hassan added. Plants that burn your skin. Plants that make you see things that aren't there. But we also have beautiful flowers. Sarah said, trees that give sweet fruit. Plants that heal sickness. Plants that smell wonderful. Zephy's tried to understand. So your world has animals that can kill you, weather that attacks you, and plants that are poison. But you think it's beautiful? The most beautiful place in the universe, Sarah said. Without hesitation. But why? Tam asked. Why do you love such a dangerous place? Hassan thought for a moment. Because it made us who we are. Earth taught us to be strong and smart and brave. It taught us to work together. It taught us that beautiful things and dangerous things can be the same thing. Every sunrise is a gift, Mike said. Every day we survive is a victory. Every friend we make is precious because we know life is not easy. Sarah nodded. Easy things are boring. Earth is never boring. Dr. Vex looked at his scanner again. He was starting to understand the readings now. These humans were not just big and strong. They were survivors. Their bodies had been shaped by a world that tried to kill them every day. How long have your people lived on Earth? He asked. A really long time, Sarah said. Thousands and thousands of years. And you never tried to leave? Never tried to find a safer world? The three humans looked confused. Why would we leave? Mike asked. Earth is our home. But it's so dangerous, Zephy said. Danger makes life interesting, Hassan said. Safety is nice, but too much safety makes you weak. As Zephy's listened to the humans talk about their deadly world with such love, he realized something terrifying. These beings were not lucky survivors. They were not refugees from a bad world. They were predators. The top predators from the most dangerous world anyone had ever found. And they had just said hello to the galaxy. I think, Zephy said slowly, we need to call our government. They need to know about you. That sounds great, Sarah said happily. We'd love to meet more of your people. Earth has so much to share with the galaxy. Dr. Vex closed his eyes and tried not to think about what would happen when the galaxy learned about humans. These friendly giants had no idea how terrifying they were, and that, somehow, made them even more terrifying. Captain Zephy sat in his chair on the bridge. His head hurt from thinking too much. Dr. Vex was still recovering from the coffee. Officer Tam had not stopped shaking since they returned from the human ship. Send the message, Zephy's told Officer. Crix typed on her controls. The message went out to Galactic Command. It would take 3 hours to reach them. Then the real problems would start. Captain, Crix said, we're getting signals from all over the galaxy. Other ships heard about the humans. Everyone wants to know what's happening. What are they saying? Zephy's asked. Some think we're lying. Some think we're sick. Some think the humans are dangerous invaders. Crix paused. And some are sending warships. Zephy's felt cold. Warships? The Hegemony battle fleet. 10 ships. They'll be here in 2 days. Dr. Vex looked up from his medical bed. Captain, we have to warn the humans. They don't understand how scared everyone is. Maybe the humans can defend themselves, Tam said. They're so big and strong. Against 10 warships? Dr. Vex shook his head. No one can fight that many ships. Zephy's thought about Captain Sarah and her friendly smile. The humans seemed nice. They didn't act like warriors. But they came from a world that should have killed them. Open a channel to the human ship. He sighed. Sarah's face appeared on the screen. She was still smiling. Hi, Captain Zephy's. How are you feeling? Sarah, we need to talk. Can you come to our ship? Sure. We'd love to see your ship. Is everything okay? You look worried. I'll explain when you get here. An hour later, Sarah and Mike floated through the airlock. They had to bend down to fit through the door. Everything on the alien ship was too small for them. Wow, Mike said. Looking around, your ship is so neat and clean. Everything is so perfectly organized. Thank you, Zephy said. Please, sit down. We need to talk about something important. The humans tried to sit in the small chairs. They looked like adults, trying to sit in children's furniture. Sarah, Zephy's began. When we sent news about meeting you, it caused problems. What kind of problems? Sarah asked. Many species in the galaxy are afraid of you. Sarah and Mike looked confused. Afraid of us? Why? Because you come from a Class 15 Deathworld. Because you're so big and strong. Because you drink poison and think dangerous animals are pets, Mike laughed. But we're friendly. We don't want to hurt anyone. I know that, Zephy said, but others don't understand. They think you might be dangerous. So what happens now? Sarah asked. Warships are coming. 10 big ships with lots of weapons. They want to make sure you're not a threat. Sarah's smile faded. They want to fight us? They want to be ready to fight if they need to, Zephy's explained. Mike stood up. His head hit the ceiling. We should go. We don't want to cause trouble. Wait, Dr. Vex said. Can I ask you something? Do humans have weapons? Sarah and Mike looked at each other. Well, yes, Sarah said slowly. Every ship has defenses. What kind of defenses? Tam asked. The usual stuff, Mike said. Plasma cannons for clearing space rocks. Fusion missiles for mining. Energy shields to protect against radiation. Dr. Vex checked his scanner. Captain, they're talking about weapons that could destroy our entire fleet. Those aren't weapons, Sarah said. Those are tools. Our weapons are much bigger. The bridge became very quiet. Much bigger? Zephy's asked weakly. Sure, Mike said. The mining tools are for work. The real weapons are for protection against the big dangerous things in space. What big dangerous things? Dr. Vex asked. You know, Sarah said. Space storms, gravity waves, black hole radiation, solar flares, the usual space stuff. Officer Crix looked at her readings. Captain, humans think solar flares are normal dangers. We consider them planet-killing disasters. Sarah noticed everyone. Looking scared. Hey, don't worry. We won't use weapons unless something tries to hurt us. We're peaceful explorers. But if something did try to hurt you? Zephy's asked. Mike shrugged. Then we'd protect ourselves. That's normal, right? Meanwhile, far away, the news about humans was spreading through the galaxy. On the Hegemony command ship, Admiral Corex read the reports. Impossible, he said to his officers. Nothing lives on Class 15 worlds. The reports are confirmed, Admiral, said his aide. Large life forms. Origin definitely Terra 3. What do we know about their technology? Their ship is built like a fortress. Hull thickness exceeds our heaviest battleships. Energy readings suggest power systems far beyond our capabilities. Admiral Corex studied the star charts. How many of them are there? Unknown, Admiral. This could be a scout ship. There could be thousands more. Or millions, another officer added. On the science station New Hope, Dr. Yalara was studying the biological data about humans. This can't be right, she told her assistant. These creatures are too dense, too strong, too tough. What if the data is correct? Her assistant asked. Then we're looking at the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. Look at these numbers. Their bones are harder than most metals. Their muscles are denser than our best armor. Their blood carries more oxygen than should be possible. Maybe they wear artificial enhancement suits? Dr. Yalara shook her head. No. This is natural. They evolved this way. Back on the human ship, Hassan was working in the medical bay. He got a message from Captain Sarah. Hassan, the aliens seem scared of us. They think we're dangerous. Hassan laughed. Dangerous? Us? We're the most peaceful exploration crew in the fleet. That's what I told them, but they're still worried. Hassan thought about it. Maybe we should show them how normal we are. Invite them to dinner. Let them meet more of the crew. Good idea. Maybe if they see how friendly everyone is, they'll stop being scared. What Hassan didn't know was that the rest of the human crew included a former Marine who could lift a shuttlecraft, an engineer who had survived 3 different space accidents, and a cook who thought spicy food meant adding things that would burn through metal dye on the alien ship. Zephy's was getting more reports. Captain, Crick said, I'm reading the human ship's crew files. These people have survived things that should have killed them. Like what? Their captain once walked outside during a radiation storm to fix their ship. Their doctor survived a plague that killed millions on their world. Their engineer was in an explosion that destroyed half a space station. And they all lived? Tam asked. Not only lived. They went back to work the next day. Double quotes. Dr. Vex sat up on his medical bed. Captain, I don't think these humans understand how fragile the rest of us are. What do you mean? They think we're like them. They think everyone can survive coffee and thunderstorms and wild animals. They have no idea that what's normal for them would kill most species in the galaxy. Zephy's looked at the human ship on his screen. It was dark and powerful, and built to survive anything space could throw at it. So they're not trying to be scary, he said. No, Dr. Vex replied. They're trying to be friendly. That's what makes them so terrifying. The warships were still coming. The galaxy was still afraid. And the humans were still planning to invite everyone to dinner. Zephy's realized that the next few days would either start a war or change the galaxy forever. Maybe both. The 10 warships arrived like dark clouds in space. They were huge and covered with weapons. Admiral Corex stood on the bridge of his flagship and stared at the human vessel. It's smaller than I expected, he said to his officers. But look at the hull thickness, Admiral, his weapons officer replied. Our scanners can barely read through it. And those aren't decorations on the sides, added the science officer. Those are weapon ports, lots of them. Admiral Corex had fought in many battles. He had seen the strongest ships in the galaxy. But something about this human ship made him nervous. Open a channel to the survey ship, he ordered. Captain Zephy's appeared on the screen. He looked tired and worried. Admiral Corex, Zephy said. Thank you for coming. But I must warn you. These humans are not what we expected. Are they hostile? The Admiral asked. No, sir. That's the problem. They're friendly. Very friendly, but they don't understand how dangerous they are. On the human ship, Captain Sarah was talking to her. Crew, the aliens seem scared of us, she told them. They brought warships. Warships? Asked Chun, the ship's engineer. She was a small woman by human standards, but her arms were thick with muscle from working with heavy machinery. Why would they need warships? I think they're afraid we might hurt them, Sarah explained. Hassan laughed. That's silly. We're Explorers, not fighters. Maybe we should show them how peaceful we are, suggested Rodriguez, the cook. He was a big man who loved making food for people. I could make dinner for everyone. That's a great idea, Sarah said. Food brings people together. What Sarah didn't know was that Rodriguez's idea of mild seasoning included peppers that could burn through metal. His gentle cooking heat would melt most alien cookware. Back on the flagship, Admiral Corex was getting reports from his ships. Admiral, their energy readings are off the scale, his chief engineer reported. That ship could power a small planet. What about weapons? We count at least 50 weapon ports. But our computers can't identify what kind of weapons they are. Because they're not weapons, came a voice from behind them. Admiral Corex turned around. Captain Zephy's had beamed over from his ship. Captain, explain, the Admiral ordered. The humans think those are tools, Zephy said. Tools for mining and clearing space rocks. What we call weapons, they call work equipment. Then what are their actual weapons like? Zephy's looked pale. We don't want to know, Admiral. On the human ship, the crew was preparing for their guests. They cleaned the dining hall and set up tables. Everything they did was normal for humans. Everything they did would terrify their visitors. Mike was moving tables that weighed as much as small shuttlecrafts. He lifted them with one hand like they were made of paper. Chun was adjusting the lights. The power she was using casually would run an entire alien city. Hassan was preparing medical supplies, just in case someone got hurt. His basic first aid kit contained medicines that could cure diseases that had killed millions of aliens. This is going to be fun, Sarah said, watching her crew work. I can't wait to make new friends. Admiral Corex decided to visit the human ship himself. He took a small group of his best officers. They put on full battle armor and carried weapons. Remember, he told his team, these beings may look friendly, but they're from a Class 15 Deathworld. Stay alert. They docked with the human ship and walked through the airlock. The first human they met was Rodriguez. Welcome, he said with a huge smile. He was wearing an apron covered in pictures of cute animals. In his hand, he held a knife that was bigger than most alien swords. Admiral Corex and his officers reached for their weapons. Oh, don't mind this, Rodriguez said, holding up the knife. I was just cutting vegetables for dinner. You guys hungry? The knife was clearly designed for cutting through things much tougher than vegetables. But Rodriguez handled it like a toy. Sarah appeared in the hallway. Admiral Corex, welcome aboard. We're so excited to meet you. She walked toward them with open arms. Admiral Corex had to force himself not to run away. Sarah was bigger than his strongest warriors and moved with the easy confidence of a top predator. Thank you for having us, the Admiral said carefully. Come on, let me show you around, Sarah said happily. They walked through the ship. Admiral Corex noticed that everything was built to survive the impossible. The walls were thicker than his ship's armor. The floors could probably stop missile attacks. The air itself felt heavy and rich, like breathing liquid power. This is our recreation room, Sarah said, opening a door. Inside, several humans were exercising. One was lifting weights that would crush most aliens. Another was running on a machine at speeds that would break alien bones. A third was hitting a punching bag so hard that the sound echoed like thunder. We like to stay in shape, Sarah explained. Admiral Corex watched a human woman punch through a train target that was made of solid metal. She did it without effort and kept talking to her friend about weekend plans. How strong are your people? The Admiral asked weakly. Not very strong, Sarah said. We're just normal humans. On Earth, we're actually considered pretty average. The Admiral's officers looked at each other with fear. These were the average ones? They continued to the dining hall. The humans had prepared a feast. Tables were full of food that smelled wonderful and looked delicious. The humans were all smiling and talking excitedly. "Please, sit anywhere," Sarah said. Admiral Corex and his officers sat down carefully. The chairs were strong enough to hold humans, so they could easily support aliens. Rodriguez brought out the first course. It was a soup that smelled like flowers and spices. "This is very mild," he said proudly. "I made it gentle for our new friends." "Admiral." Corex took a small sip. It was like drinking liquid fire. His throat burned. His eyes watered. But somehow, it also tasted amazing. "Too spicy?" Rodriguez asked with concern. "No," the Admiral gasped. "It's interesting." Around the table, humans were eating the soup like it was water. They talked and laughed and shared stories about their travels through space. "We've been exploring for 2 years now," Sarah said. "We've seen amazing things, nebulas that sparkle like jewels, stars being born, black holes dancing together." "You go near black holes?" Admiral Corex asked. "Sometimes," Mike said. "They're beautiful. And the gravity fields create interesting effects on our engines. Isn't that dangerous?" The humans looked confused. "Everything in space is dangerous," Hassan said. "That's what makes it exciting." As the evening went on, Admiral Corex began to understand something important. These humans were not trying to be threatening. They were genuinely friendly and curious. They wanted to learn about other species and share what they knew, but they were also the most dangerous beings he had ever met. Not because they were mean or violent, but because they were so incredibly tough and capable. They lived in a universe where everything tried to kill them, and they thought it was fun. "Admiral," Sarah said as the dinner ended, "we hope this is the start of a long friendship. We have so much to learn from each other." Admiral Corex looked around the table. His officers had survived the meal, though barely. They looked amazed and terrified and excited all at the same time. "Yes," he said slowly, "I think this will change everything." Later, back on his ship, Admiral Corex sent a message to Galactic Command. "The humans are not hostile," he reported. "They are friendly and peaceful. But they are also the most powerful species we have ever encountered. They don't know how strong they are compared to us. They think they're normal." He paused and looked out at the human ship. "I recommend we treat them as honored guests and valued friends, because the alternative is too frightening to consider. These people could probably conquer the galaxy by accident while trying to help." The human ship continued on its journey. The next day, as it disappeared into a nebula that no other species dared to enter, Admiral Corex realized that the galaxy had just become a much more interesting place. The humans were here. They were friendly. They were peaceful. And they were absolutely terrifying in the most wonderful way possible. The age of humans had begun.